Hello and welcome to another episode of the e-commerce coffee break. Today we have a bit of a different episode. Normally we're talking about apps, about Shopify merchants, about digital marketing in general. Today I want to talk to something that's very close to my heart about being a digital nomad. I'm probably the oldest digital nomad that you ever will meet. And I have another expert on that topic with me, Adam Rosen. He's an entrepreneur, a founder of a startup. He's been on the road also for a while. He is a paid speaker. He has coached hundreds of startup and business owners, and his primary focus nowadays is helping startups on appointments, and he does that while traveling the world. Now, obviously, Adam has a good background on what kind of benefits and advantages, disadvantages it has to be a digital nomad, and we want to dive into this and maybe can motivate one or the other person listening or watching this to start a life location independent. So hello, Adam. How are you today?
It's great to be here, Klaus. Always great to chat with you, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Adam, give me a bit of background. Where do you come from? What are you doing? Just a bit of a rundown. What about you?
Yeah. So I grew up in New York. I went to college out in Boston. I never worked a true 9-to-5 job. I did a 1-year MBA program because I was leading a new entrepreneurship program at my college. And 3 weeks before I graduated, I decided to start my first company. Did that for 5 years. We were based in Boston, and it was a tech startup. We were acquired in 2019. It wasn't like a big fancy acquisition, but it was an acquisition nonetheless. So we did that for about 5 years, and that whole life was very much be in the office literally every single day. So it's very different than what I'm doing now. It was Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. till 7, 8 p.m., just about every single day. And Sundays, I'd go in a little bit later at 9 a.m. and I'd be in the office till 6 p.m. So it's very different than what I do now, because I never thought that living a digital nomad life, as you said, is something that number one, I could do. Number two would be something that a real business owner, business leader could do. I thought it was just something where, people that just want to backpack and travel around the world, they do that, but not real business leaders do that. So anyway, when we were acquired in 2019, I left Boston, went out to Hawaii, spent about a year there. Then I got presented with a real estate opportunity back in New York. I did that for about a year. And then my business partner and I started this email outreach company that we have about a year ago. It started as a side hustle. And now that it's starting to get some legs on it, it's allowed us to travel the world. And that's what we plan on doing for the time being, and hopefully continue to build a pretty good business as we do it.
Okay, no, it sounds great. As you said, you're doing email outreach nowadays. Obviously, there's a lot of different business models that you can do while being on the road. Even as a startup, you can do this, having a location independent team, which you probably have. You can tell us a little bit more about that in a second. And just having people working for you as your lifestyle wherever they are. Now, obviously, getting into this digital nomad lifestyle is a bit of a transition, as you said. So how was that for you? How did you get into that?
Yeah, it was really by happenstance. It was my business partner had already been on the road. He was in Europe at the time. And when I was leaving my place in New York, I said, well, why settle down over here when I could travel the world? And there's really no reason to be in one specific location. As you mentioned, all of our team is from all over the world. So there's really no reason for us to be in one specific location. All of my meetings I could do either on the phone or through Zoom because of technology. And it's frankly, one of the benefits of COVID is now everybody, I don't care what generation you are, is so comfortable doing a Zoom meeting, where it doesn't necessarily need to be in person anymore. Although in person is always the best, you can't replace that, but you could do things through Zoom. So it's afforded us the opportunity to just bounce around, but it's also forced us to get really tight with our systems. Because if you do want to be a digital nomad, you have to have the discipline to not just create systems for yourself, but to create systems for each part of your business so that everybody that's working with you can be as successful as possible. Because if you don't have that, it's just too difficult to do it.
Yeah, very good point that you mentioned there. I mean, discipline is one thing, standard operating procedures is another one. I think sometimes you get the feeling when people talking about this digital nomad lifestyle that people are just hanging around in Bali on the beach and working with their PC from the beach and having party all night. That might happen occasionally, but I can tell you generally it does not happen all the time. And to be successful as an entrepreneur, obviously you have to put in the work, you have to have the discipline to really work and not only enjoy your life. And I think that's a bit of a trap where a lot of people might fall in looking into this. Now, when you're saying you have a location, you have your team worldwide, how do you deal with that when you're moving, they are moving, time zones? What kind of problems are you dealing there?
Yeah, so time zones is most difficult, frankly, for myself and my co-founder, my business partner, because there's times where I was in Hawaii for a few months, and my business partner at the time was in he was in Ireland, and that is completely different time zone. So we really could catch each other either early in the morning my time, or late at night, which is late at night his time. That was really the only time that we were both awake at the same time because of the time zone. So that's most difficult, as well as when I'm doing meetings or Zoom calls, podcasts like this one, just even figuring out what time zone am I even going to be in next month, or what time zone am I going to be in 3 months from now. So that's the biggest challenge with our team. They don't want to leave where they are. So I know what time zone they're in. And more importantly, we make sure that they're able to work in time zones that are conducive to our clients. So even if you're in the Philippines or Africa or wherever in the world, you need to make sure that you can work East Coast American hours, because that's where the majority of working hours for our clients.
Mm-hmm. Talking about clients, what's the perception of clients working with digital nomads? What's your experience there?
Well, part of it too with us, like with my tech startup that I had, speaking frankly, there was clients that we had or clients that we tried to get that I didn't want to work with. They were the types of clients that either were a pain to work with, didn't bring the right energy for me. The types of clients where I'm the type of guy where it's like I feel very blessed every single day. It doesn't mean I'm always in a good mood, but I feel very blessed. And when you say to someone, you get on a phone call on a Monday morning, how are you doing? And they say, what do you think? It's Monday morning. I'm doing awful. That type of thing. Like that's not the type of energy I want to be around. But now we're very, very, very picky about the clients we work with. So if they don't like our lifestyle for whatever reason, if they don't trust that we can execute with our lifestyle, that's okay. We just probably wouldn't choose to work with them either. So I think all of our clients, they love it, because the truth is all that matters is, are we able to get results for them? And if we're able to get results, that's all that should matter.
Yeah, no, that's very wise words there. I'm on your page with that. I'm working location independent for 17 years before digital nomad was a word. And nowadays, pretty much the same. I'm worked from, I don't know, 30 plus countries in the last 5, 6 years.
Wow.
And sometimes you get the feeling that people are sort of is like you on the run, basically. And saying, I'm calling you from Cambodia, or I'm calling you from Colombia. They're sort of suspicious of what you do. So therefore, it makes absolutely sense to find the right clients that first of all understand that you can work location independent and that you're not lazy. And as I said, I think the mindset changes. It's not this 9 to 5 and I have the weekend, I have holiday. It's just a lifestyle. For me, it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday. And I never take a holiday because my lifestyle is sort of built in
Right.
a way that it makes sense. I don't need a holiday.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. You're not waiting for that Saturday or waiting for Friday night or waiting for whatever holiday it is to take off, because you made it so that your life and your business is combined into one. It's not two separate paths, and sometimes that's what it is. It's like how you are 9 to 5 Monday through Friday is a completely different person than who you are Friday night through Sunday night. And that was always my thing for myself. Even with my tech startup, I never wanted to be a different person Monday through Friday 9 to 5 than I am on the weekends. And I wanted to make it so that living and work is both energizing me, and I'm the same person at both times.
Yeah. Now, being on the road has his own kind of issues from time to time. Looking for accommodation, finding your way around, different languages, different time zones. We spoke about that. Is there anything that you find particularly difficult to being on the road?
I'd say just getting settled in as quickly as possible, because to your point, this isn't a vacation. Like, people think, oh, you're in Austin. Like, right now I'm in Austin, Texas, or I'm in Hawaii, or wherever I am in the world, Italy, France, wherever. Oh, you're on vacation. Like, part of it, yes, it does feel a little bit like vacation because it's a different place, but it's not. Like, it's my work. So for me, it's always, how do I get settled in and make things normal as quickly as possible, because I need to get the job done right away. And when you're traveling and you're on planes for a while, it can wear on you, and trying to get acclimated to new places, new locations, all of that stuff can take time. And every time I just try to cut the amount of time to get acclimated in each place so that I can be as effective as possible, I should say, with the work that I'm doing, but also as effective as possible where I feel like I'm getting settled in, and taking in as much as possible from each location, meeting as many people as possible, soaking in the culture as much as possible, and really being like a sponge for every location that I go to.
Yeah, you become a bit of a travel hacker or Airbnb hacker, yeah, for me at least. So finding the right Airbnbs and checking
Yep.
on internet speed and all of these more important things because you're not on holiday. That's right.
Yeah,
What do
exactly.
you
The place I'm
spend
staying in
it?
now, that was a big thing was, does it have a business center? Although the business center here, though, it's an amazing business center. I'm doing this for my condo right now because the business center downstairs, that is like an amazing co-working space. The Wi-Fi is so poor though, I can't do Zoom calls on it. So that's even one thing that now I'm going to check into next time is not just do they have a business center, but how's the Wi-Fi there?
Yeah, no, that's a good tip. Always ask, get a screenshot basically
Right.
from their Wi-Fi speed before you book anything. No. How do you find finding new people, meeting new people? Everyone is different there. Some people are more introvert, extrovert, or whatsoever, so it might be different for everyone. But how do you think, or how is your experience in meeting new people, getting in touch with new people? How does that feel for you?
Yeah, for me, like I'm the type of person who loves to sit at a cafe or a restaurant by myself, or if I walking around, I'm usually pretty good about saying hello to people. So it's not usually a huge issue for me. But there's times, of course, where you get that more introverted side of yourself. But my biggest advice for that is just buy into the culture. Like that's one of the things that I lived in Hawaii for about a year, as I mentioned, and I spent a few months there again. Most recently, my dad's lived there for a while, so I understand that culture well. And the big thing there is, no matter where you're from, if you just buy into that Hawaiian culture, they're going to accept you. And I found that no matter where you are in the world, like when you're in Italy, if you buy into that culture, they're going to accept you. The people that have the toughest time are the people that just try to bring their culture everywhere they go. Where if you try to be Mr. Hotshot New York City guy in Hawaii, they're going to be like, "Hey, I don't want to talk to you. Like you're not welcome here." And the same way if you bring that attitude to anywhere else in the world, like showing that you have an appreciation for their culture and accepting their culture and buying into their culture, I found is the best way for people in that culture, like the real locals, to accept you, and they'll accept you with open arms.
No, absolutely. My experience is that you always feel like the idiot because everyone knows how things work and you don't, especially when you arrive somewhere new.
Right.
So, and you have to figure out how to buy a bus ticket or whatever. So there's
Yeah.
different ways to buy a bus ticket, and everyone they catch you, but everyone is helpful and they obviously stand out to a certain degree depending where you are in the world. And you need to get sort of ready with that to being the idiot who does not know how things work. And I think then you're fine.
Exactly.
Give
And it's
me,
there's so much good learning in that too. That's such an important thing, like buying a bus ticket. You don't think about that. That's when I went to Italy for the first time. I had to get and I was after a red eye flight, didn't sleep a lick on the plane. I'm exhausted. I got I had too many bags. I mean, that's another big thing is travel. Take less stuff than you actually need to every location. But that was such a good learning, trying to figure out my way in a totally different language, totally different culture, running on no sleep to try to find myself 3 hours away from the airport, or try to get myself from the airport to my Airbnb 3 hours away. So all that is such a good learning that you don't get if you're just sitting in your Boston apartment, living there your whole life.
yeah, you grow as a human because there's things being life throw things at you every day, every country, every city you arrive to, there's new kind of challenges that you need to deal with. And I think that reflects also in business life, because if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, it's sort of same scenario. You have to figure out solutions to problems every day. And now you have a very good exercise in your private life because you have to do that as well. Tell me, you're building a company. Tell me a little bit more about the company and what are the challenges there from being on the road, or what kind of advantages does it have? Maybe it has advantages too.
Yeah, the basic premise for us is really any company. I don't care what we're finding is whether you're a brand new startup to the largest companies in the world, what they all have in common is they want to get more sales opportunities. They want to talk to potential customers. And the one thing we did exceptionally well with my tech startup was we were great at getting new business, and how we got all of our new customers. Think Bank of America, Amazon, AT&T, all these massive companies based in the US were all through cold email outreach, which most people say does not work. But we were able to learn that skill and we got good at it. So as I've been advising and working with several hundred at this point, startups and small businesses, I found that was a commonality amongst all of them. So I was having a conversation with one of the tech startups that I was advising. He asked me to talk to his head of sales. She was struggling to get sales meetings on the calendar. I talked to her. I found out what the issue was, and I just went to their CEO. I said, "Hey, Pete, if you want, I can help you out with this." He said, "Yes, please do." I called on my business partner, and we built out what ended up being an email outreach company. But for him specifically, Started as a side hustle, it went well, and we got renewal after renewal after renewal after that. But it all started as a side hustle and just out of, hey, I have a problem and I had a solution to solve their problem. So that was kind of how it was born. In terms of challenges, running the company, I'd say the biggest thing is when my business partner and I are not together, it's just continuing to stay on the same page. Now, the reason why we have a great advantage with that, though, is we have been business partners for 7, 8 years at this point. We started our previous tech company together. So we already have it baked in, that trust and that working relationship. Where if you're just starting with a co-founder, a business partner, and you haven't been working together for so long, you don't have all of those hurdles. It can be a lot tougher to have that working relationship and that trust with each other. So we're very fortunate to have that trust where we can work from anywhere in the world. And we know that I'll get done when I need to get done, and he'll get done when he needs to get done.
No, that's important to have the right business partners. Now, obviously, a lot of digital nomads are either working sort of in a remote environment for a corporate. I met a lot of them. And they're still bound to certain work hours, and that sometimes screws up their daily schedule because of time zones, or they're freelancers, so they basically work for their own. So I think there's all kinds of different setups that you can go for being on the road and location independent. What would you recommend for someone who has a traditional work-life balance in a corporate environment or brick and mortar or whatsoever, and if they want to make the transition, or they're playing with the idea to become location independent, what would be your best tip there?
First, I would just ask myself why. Why do I want to become location independent? Is it because it seems cool? It seems like a fun, sexy lifestyle. Is that why I want to do it? Or is there a deeper reason behind it? So number one, you should always ask yourself, why do I even want this thing? Because the perception of it, like you see people posting on Instagram of them in Bali and, I'm living the digital nomad life. And that's not always the reality. That is part of the life, but there's a lot of challenges, some of which we've mentioned here. So is the why because you want to get some learning from it, some growth from it? Or is the why because you want some type of egotistical reason to be traveling the world to show off that you're a digital nomad? So that would be number one. But then number two is, if it is in alignment with your DNA, just do it. Like, there's only so much you can learn before you go. Like your Airbnb hacks, you probably didn't learn by doing a bunch of research ahead of time. You learned it probably from just testing it out, by traveling to different places, by, asking Airbnb owners if they would do this deal if you stay for this amount of time, and so on and so forth. But a lot of the stuff in life, we always want a playbook to be written for us because it gives us more certainty. And as human beings, we crave certainty. But at the end of the day, if it is in alignment with your DNA, with what you want to do, just do it. You're going to learn from it, and the dots will continue to connect for you.
No, it makes sense. I always like to say, sometimes you learn, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Things are not going that well. And the other thing that I hear quite a lot is that people are just too scared because they trust the news, and they hear things about countries. I'm right now here in Cape Town in South Africa. And if you read the news abroad, and it's like all about crime and so on and so forth. I spent more than a year in Colombia. Same story, Pablo Escobar, drugs and all of these things. Nothing of that is true. It's true in the past, but it's a lovely country, it's lovely people. So I always say, go find out for yourself how a place is, and don't believe everything that you read there. Cool, Adam. Exactly. Where can people find more about you, about your company?
Yeah, me personally, if you the most active social media site for me is Instagram. So it's at Adam I Rosen, ROSEN. On our website for our email company, if you want to check that out, it is eocworks.com. My email is adam@eocworks.com.
Okay, cool. I will put this in the show notes so people can look you up. And if they are interested in cold email outreach to get more leads or sales, then obviously they can contact you directly there. Thanks, Adam. I think this was quite insightful. Maybe we could motivate one or the other person on looking into a location independent lifestyle. I think the two of us are on the same page there. That is definitely worth to give it a try.
No, absolutely. And Klaus, I appreciate you having me on. It was great chatting with you.
Cool. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Hey, Klaus here. Before you leave, I have a question for you. Are you a Shopify store owner and you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, and not sure what to do next to grow your business? Do you struggle to convert traffic into sales and turn website visitors into buyers? Do you want to have direct access to a mentor who can assist you with your store, your strategy, offer, marketing, sales, and anything else you might need in your business? then I would invite you to apply for my Get Conversions program, where I show you how to remove the guesswork out of growing your Shopify business and create clarity to optimize your business for maximal growth and profit. This is an application-only program. To apply, go to klauslauter.com to learn more. And finally, please do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment. It's a huge help and allows me to reach more people with this channel. Thanks in advance, and until next time at the e-commerce coffee break.